Hello my dear students, welcome to the second video of the chapter Our Soil. Now let's revise what all points we learned in our first video and then we'll continue with the second video. In the first video we learned about how the soil is formed, right? Then we learned about the different types of soil. We said about the alluvial soil, then we said about the red soil, black soil and laterite soil. Now today we are going to learn about the other two different kinds of soil, that is mountain soil and desert soil. Then we will cover one more topic, that is soil erosion and how you have to prevent soil erosion. Now these are the topics that we are going to cover in this video. So let's see what is a mountain soil first. Mountain soil, the color of the mountain soil is dark brown. The word itself shows where does it find in the mountains, okay. And this mountain soil is very rich in humus. What is the word? Humus. Humus means it's a fertilizer that is formed by the dead leaves and plants. When they fall on the soil, what happens? They decay in the soil and they form a fertilizer. So they are rich in humus. You can see in page number 53 the mountain soil picture. You already can see lots of dead leaves are there on the soil. What happened? This turns out to be a humus. This turns out to be a fertilizer. And what happened? This fertilizer, this mountain soil is very good in growing crops like wheat, maize, fruits, coffee and tea. And this mountain soil can be found in the states like Jammu and Kashmir, Himachal Pradesh, Uttarakhand, Sikkim, West Bengal, a part of Arunachal Pradesh also. So this is the speciality of mountain soil. They are dark brown in color and the famous feature of mountain soil is that they are rich in humus. Humus means the fertilizer that has been formed by the falling of the dead leaves and plants. When they stay in the soil, what happens? They start decaying and that becomes a fertilizer known as humus. Okay. And the crops that is grown there are wheat, maize, fruits, coffee and tea. Now let's look on to the next soil, that is desert soil. Desert soil are very sandy and infertile. Okay, you would have seen desert areas, at least in TV you would have seen. It's very sandy. It's not a stiff sand. Okay, it's a very loose sand. So it is very sandy soil and it is very infertile soil. Until and unless in the desert, if we get a proper water supply, then only we can cultivate the crops. Until and unless we put certain fertilizers and provide certain water facility, only we can grow crops like this, like wheat, millets, barley, pulses and cotton. These are the crops that can be grown in desert soil. But that has to be properly nourished. Means not only the soil has to be turned into fertile, it has to be properly watered also. So that irrigation facility also should be proper in that soil. Then only you can cultivate these kind of crops there. Okay. Now these are the two types of soil that we left out in the last video. Now let's see what is soil erosion. Soil erosion means when the top layer of the soil has different layers. You can see here there are different layers of soil. So if you dig the soil, you can understand there are different layers of soil. So on the top we have the top soil. So what happened during soil erosion? That what happens there is, during soil erosion, the soil gets washed away by the water. What happens in soil erosion? In soil erosion, the topsoil is washed away due to the heavy rain. If the topsoil is washed away, what will happen there? The fertility of the soil loses there. Okay, so that soil what is there in that place will not be a fertile soil, it will be an infertile soil because all the nutrients which is needed for growing will be present in the topsoil. So, once the topsoil is washed away, what will happen? The fertility of the soil loses, right? Then, let us see how the soil erosion can be controlled. Okay, how can we prevent soil erosion? Soil erosion can be controlled in different ways. How can we control soil erosion? First method is do not cut trees. As I said earlier in the previous videos, our environment has given us so many things. But what we are doing, we are exploiting the environment, right? So, if in order to build a building, in order to construct a building, what will we usually do? If there are lots of trees in that piece of land, we will cut down the trees and construct a building there. So, what we are doing, we are harming the environment. If there are no trees, what happens? There will be soil erosion. There will be nothing. There will be no trees to hold the soil in their places. It can easily get eroded. Okay, now let us see the next one. Plant more trees. You have to plant more and more trees to prevent soil erosion. Okay, the next one, do not keep the fields barren. What's the meaning of this sentence? After harvesting, after doing the agriculture, what the farmers do? They will harvest all the crops and go. But you should not leave the field like that. What should you do? What the farmers should do? They have to leave certain crops and stalks there itself. So, the land will not turn into a barren land. It will be there, certain crops will be there. If there are crops there, what will happen? There will be water content there. The content of the water will not be lost there. So, the field will not turn barren. So, these are certain methods by which we can see that the fields are not turned barren. After harvesting, certain crops can be maintained there, or the crops, otherwise what will happen? The land will lose its water content there. So, do not keep the fields barren. Next one, stop overgrazing of land. Okay, we will take the cattle for grazing. So, what happen if we take it to the same place? What will they do? They will eat even the sapling, the sprouted plants from the ground. What will happen because of that? It will not be, the cattle are not giving the time for the plants to grow or the grass to grow. So, if they are overgrazed, what will happen there? That land, there is a chance of turning into a barren land. Okay. The last one is use manure or natural fertilizers instead of artificial fertilizers. You know what is a compost pit? All the organic waste, the kitchen waste, garden waste, everything if you put in a pit, after 2 or 3 months, it can turn out to be a manure. So, you can use that natural fertilizer for growing the crops. So, these are the certain methods by which we can prevent the soil erosion. These methods are very much important. You have to learn what is soil erosion and what are the methods that we can use to prevent soil erosion. So, I will repeat once more, when the topsoil is washed away by the water, what happened? That soil turns out to be an infertile soil. So, in order to stop the soil erosion, we have to follow these certain methods, these certain ways. So, these are the topics that we learned for today. Mountain soil. What is the color of the mountain soil? In which all states we can see mountain soil, and the most important thing, mountain soil is rich in humus. Then we learnt about the desert soil. Desert soil, we said that desert soil is sandy and infertile. Okay, and which all states we can find the desert soil. Then we learnt about the soil erosion and the methods to stop the soil erosion. Now you children, you have to read the chapter, underline the important points, do exercise letter A and B in page number 54. I hope this chapter is clear for you. Go through the chapter more than 2 or 3 times and underline and learn the important points in that chapter. Thank you, my dear children.